Welcome back to the SXR 1100 build part 2. In this video, you'll see me continue to grind away bad glass in order to make some repairs as well as lay up some new glass. I spent a ton of time with the grinder in my hand on this ski, making sure to grind away all the parts where there's voids and cracking, as well as eliminating some of the previous fiberglass work done on the ski. There were motor mounts put in right in the middle that I ended up grinding out and removing. This is the removal of one of those motor mounts I was talking about there. It was glassed in pretty well, but once I ground away some of the glass around it, it popped out. They'd kind of made a homemade mount out of a piece of aluminum, just drilling and tapping some holes into it. I end up later kind of removing the mounting bar for the gas tank as well, which I'll have to glass back in later. I started grinding on the tray area, mainly just to get it cleaned up because it looked pretty nasty. It was kind of a way to just take a break and stand up a little straighter, give my back a break while I continue to work. If I had to guess up to this point, I've probably spent like 3 or 4 hours just grinding away fiberglass. It's not glamorous work. It's you always end up itchy and dirty and need a shower at the end of the process. Here I'm taking the Dremel to all these holes that are in the left side of the hole. Basically, I'm just kind of widening them out, making sure that they're nice and clean, and then I kind of add a little taper to them just to give the epoxy and fiberglass more surface area to adhere to. What I'll use is my normal 3-to-1 laminating epoxy, but I'll mix in some milled fibers. At this point, it's pretty well cleaned up on the inside, and I'm ready to start laying some fiberglass down instead of just removing it. Won't be the last time I break out the grinder, but it needed to be done so I could make some forward progress on putting this thing back together and not just tearing it down. I like to use a mixture of the woven roving, the chopped mat, fiberglass, as well as the e-glass, generally starting with the roving on the bottom and then ending up with the e-glass on the top. I feel like that gives me a better finish. For this part, I start by wetting out the foam just to see if any epoxy can absorb into it before I lay the glass. For this iteration, I just use some saran wrap to cover. I like to do that when I roll out my epoxy to keep air from getting in the epoxy, and it also keeps my tools clean. The fiberglass rollers are pretty expensive, and then this way I don't have to do any cleanup on them because they're already clean. They never got any epoxy on them. A better thing to do, I found, is to use chopped up Ziploc bags. The Ziploc bags are a little thicker than the saran wrap, and they give you a little better finish. Another few month break here, working on the SXR 1100 build. It's still pretty rough, but it's coming along. Done a lot to kind of start patching up some of these holes. Fiberglass all these in so we can start fresh. Backed all that up on the other side. I just was kind of using it as a storage container, so kind of half the engine's just chilling in here. I did a while ago buy a brand new fuel tank for it. OEM, I think this was probably one of the last OE fuel tanks that were available. And then I did get like the whole billet fuel pickup and system to do that. But then a few months ago, Kyle Anderson on Facebook was making the big tanks again, the aluminum tanks, so I ended up buying one of his tanks. So I got that over here. That's been delivered, so super stoked to have this. Of course, it's not cheap, but the materials, the time, and the skill that he had to put into this were pretty impressive. So I haven't fit this up in there yet, but just wanted to check it out. This should hold like 7.3 gallons, so that bests the like 4.3 that this one has. Will give me a little more range with this Thirsty 1100 engine. So pretty stoked to add that to the build list. So cleared out my storage container here and just fit that tank in there just to see what it looks like, and it looks damn good. The fitment along the contours of the hole. Looks excellent. And I think that's pretty much where it's gonna sit. I'll have to figure out exactly how to route the fuel nozzle over there, but we'll figure that out. And then how to strap it down. There's tons of room up in front of this thing for more flotation, so I'll definitely try to stuff that full of some styrofoam. A few things to do. So this was added, that exhaust over there, they put in a hole over there. I'm not sure what this build was. Maybe they're trying to put a 1200 in there or something, but I'm gonna get rid of that because it's pretty ugly. You can see it kind of bust through here. It looks like rusted, so maybe not the right material. I'll try to figure something else out better for that. It certainly took some persuading, but we got it out of there. I like the idea here. I think the execution could have been better, so we'll see what I come up with. See if I can get something made that's gonna meet my purpose a little bit. Took the array of tools here to force that thing out of there. So I think what I need to do here is just kind of refocus myself. I've been attacking this problem, this jet ski, from many different angles. I've been working on the hull a little bit, gathering pieces, putting the engine together, doing some fiberglass stuff. And I think I just kind of keep going in circles. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to strip everything off of this. I'm going to take this pump off, and then I'm just going to work on getting a actual hole that will float out of this thing. So I'm just going to go hard into the fiberglass for right now. Got out here early enough this morning before the sun creeps over the house, so I can work in the shade. It already feels like about 100 degrees out here. Started working on the dash here, just kind of widening out some of these holes so I can make proper fiberglass repairs, and then grinding inside the hole. This is always a ton of work, but removing all the glue for the bond line kind of cleaned up that area back there so I can figure out a way to fix it from the last people. And then cleaning up this bond line as well. It's pretty thin, as you can see the light peeking through there and there. And then I got a little too thin here as well, so I'll clean all that up and re-glass it. But huge morning with the grinder, tons of work, huge mess, but needed to be done so we can keep the project moving forward, fill some holes, and make her a boat again.